Hey, it's Wednesday, time for another Action Figure Adventures video here on SEO Toy Review. Today, we're taking a look at two figures from the G.I. Joe Collectors Club Figure Subscription 6. We've got the helicopter pilot Windmill, the stealth fighter pilot what's his name? Oh, and bonus, the 13th figure from the subscription service. We've got Tiger Force Heavy Machine Gunner Roadblock. Pause it here to read Windmill's file card. Pause it here for what's his name, and right here for Tiger Force Roadblock. Here we have all three figures out of the package. We're going to work our way down the road, starting with Windmill. The original version of Windmill was released with the Sky Storm cross-wing helicopter in the 90s, and he was mostly green and orange. Kind of a terrible sculpt, kind of a terrible looking figure, and his vehicle was weird, and he's from Allentown, Pennsylvania, making him the second G.I. Joe ever from the state of Pennsylvania, right after Steeler from the original line. And I'm from Pennsylvania, and I was always a little bit annoyed that the second Joe we ever got was such a terrible one. When the club decided to modernize Windmill, they picked to follow his paint scheme from a Fun School release. Fun School is a company in India that licensed G.I. Joe and created G.I. Joe figures that seemed kind of like bootlegs with a lot of the odd color choices they used and just cheaper plastic in general. Even though they were actually official Fun School releases, they weren't actual bootlegs or anything. They just have that kind of quality to them. And so this figure is based on that. He's got the red and blue color scheme. He comes with a Windmill backpack here. So Windmill has a black and red helmet. It's non-removable, just like his original figure. He has a jacket on here with a sculpted knife and pistol. He's got a G.I. Joe emblem over here, and nothing on the other side. For weapon, Windmill comes with a small black pistol. He's got plain blue pants on. They do have a silver stripe running down the side. There's obviously a lot of parts being reused here on this figure, but it's a shame he's got this peg in the side of his leg here that serves no purpose. His other accessory is his helicopter backpack, and this is based on I guess the people at Fun School took his name Windmill literally, and they gave him a Windmill backpack. And for the club to re-release him, they used this backpack. Originally, it would have come with Annihilator. He was a 90s Iron Grenadier bad guy, but it was retooled up and modernized for Agent Trackers, who was the Matt Tracker mask figure done up in G.I. Joe style. So this time, unlike the Annihilators, who have one handle and one gun built into the side here, this figure has two handlebars, and I guess he could fly. I can't really complain about the flight pack, because as a kid, the motorized action pack, the little blue helicopter for G.I. Joe, was one of my favorites. This figure is probably better than the original Windmill, but I still just don't really care about the character, don't really like his design. Giving him a little backpack so he can dangle in the air doesn't improve him a whole lot. I get it, the club's trying to release as many characters as possible, so I give him credit for making this guy, but he's definitely not one of my favorites. He does come with a stand with his name on it. Oh, what's his face is up here next. He was originally the pilot to the Phantom X-19 stealth fighter from the 90s. A great vehicle and a pretty decent action figure. He did suffer, like many vehicle drivers, with having a non-removable helmet, but his helmet looked decent. Everybody jokes about what's his name because the figure's name was Ghost Rider, which is a famous Marvel comic book character, and Larry Hama, the writer, just thought it was ridiculous and that was the name of the character, and he just never had anybody ever say it in the comics. They would always forget what his code name was, and that's been a running joke forever. And so they even blacked his name out on the package, and check out his stand down here. You know, he doesn't even have his code name on there. But this character is in its simplest form, a silver helmet, a gray outfit with a black coat, and a scarf. And this figure pretty much matches. He's got this little soft goods scarf piece here. He's got his silver helmet, which I believe was Dodger's from the Battle Force 2000 line. And they added the goggles to it to make it look more like Ghost Rider's. He's got the black jacket with lots of nice details on it, and then gray most of the rest of the way down. On this arm, he has the Phantom X19 logo on his sleeve. It's a little hard to see because it's tampoed over the wrinkles here, but it's like a skull wearing a top hat with some lightning. His other sleeve has that G.I. Joe logo that we often see on these club figures. He comes with a submachine gun, a very tiny pistol. He has his little matte piece tampoed on the side. This really should be on the front here so he could look at it while in a seated position. But I guess the only place I could find a flat spot on the figure to tampo it was over here. So I'm glad they at least included the detail, even if it is a little bit off to the side. He's got a kind of more armored-looking torso here, but most of that's covered up. And since the X19 is a pretty high-tech fighter, I think it works pretty well. I like this head sculpt a lot. It looks good with the helmet on. It doesn't really look goofy at all, so I think he's a pretty good figure. When we sign up for the club, they show you 12 of the 13 figures you're getting. One's always a mystery. I usually really like half the figures, and the other half I'm always kind of like, meh. But I'm always worried that that 13th figure is one I'm going to be really disappointed if I miss. So, like, out of this pairing, Windmill I don't really care for, but Ghost Rider I really like. The 13th figure this time is Tiger Force Roadblock, who is a great figure, great character, but not really somebody I get super excited for, because it's just a repaint. I was really nervous that maybe the 13th figure this time would be Payload, since we got Hardtop, and if they released the Astronaut from the Defiant, and I missed out on him, I would have been really disappointed. So I'm not taking anything away from Roadblock here. He's a fine figure and a fine character, but not quite as exciting as, like, somebody that we don't have a version of in the modern toy line yet. So Tiger Force was a repaint theme for G.I. Joe. It was a way for them to reissue older vehicles and figures. I enjoyed those reissues as a kid because many characters I wanted to own, I didn't have the original versions of, and it was a great way for me to pick them up. So here we have Roadblock. He is dressed mostly in the brown and yellow Tiger Force scheme. There's sort of two Tiger Force schemes. There was a more yellow and black version, and there was a more brown and yellow version. And Roadblock's helmet fits the yellow and black version, but his pants are the brown and orange version. So Roadblock has a green tank top on with lighter green web gear over top of that. He's got his pants with tiger stripes on them to make him look like Tiger Force. I never really used the helmet on Roadblock too much. His version 1 figure came with a helmet, and then his Tiger Force one did. But I just, for some reason, never liked the look of a helmet on Roadblock. He just always seemed more awesome without one. But unfortunately, that does remove a lot of his stripes because he doesn't have stripes on the tank top. His helmet fits pretty well. It's not quite a perfect fit. I don't think this helmet was sculpted for this head because it does sort of hang up on one ear or the other, depending on how you put it on there. He's got his 50 cal machine gun with the little tripod. It's an awesome accessory and, you know, looks pretty much exactly like the one that he originally came with, only bigger and more detailed. He does come with an ammo strip for this. You can pretend. This is an accessory that I don't really care for that much. They don't really plug in. They don't really stay on. I would have rather him come with his backpack. The version 1 and Tiger Force version of Roadblock came with a little backpack that had an ammo cartridge at the bottom. That's missing from this figure. But, you know, you can't get everything. So I'm going to remove his gun so we can look at the figure a little bit more. This is a great body sculpt, very muscular, which is definitely an attribute that everyone associates with Roadblock. You can see down below here he does have some cool pouches for ammo. He's got a removable pistol on this leg. He's got a knife down here above this boot. He's got gray boots. And I really, really like this figure. He's got nice articulation. He's got good ankle joints here. Double jointed knees. Great hips. I mean, this is a well put together sculpt and a really nice paint scheme. So I'm really happy with this 13th figure, even if he is less exciting of a character than I was kind of envisioning. And like the others, Roadblock comes with a figure stand with his name on it. Thanks for watching this Action Figure Adventures video. Do Baby Skeletor a favor, hit that like and subscribe button.